I hope this finds you sitting down somewhere safe, buckled in, because I got a hell of an episode for you today. We went on a wild ride with these two motherfuckers. Had a great time. And of course, before we get into all of this, I have a couple things I want to throw at you. Today, you're listening to a full-length episode, usually, right around 90 minutes, and I have one or two people on, and it's conversational. I love to hear what makes people tick and some stories and laugh and cry and learn some things, and I hope you do as well. And then on opposite weeks, I go live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, and that's about 5 to 10, maybe 13 minutes, depending on how much I want to rant and rave, and all I do is jump on, no notes, just my microphone and y'all listening and whatever's on my heart and my mind. And if you want to connect with me there, of course, jump on my website, brawpodcast.com. You can find everything you need to know about the show there, and where to connect with me as well. And of course, Live Rishi. These guys make high quality CBD product. Now, I just got done celebrating my 48th trip around the sun. And things don't recover very well like they did 20 years ago. But with Rishi Rub, I can't say enough good about this stuff. I've been using it for longer than this show's been around. And jump over there, liverishi.com, use the code word TABLE50, and you're looking at 50% off your entire order. And check out the 1,000 milligram tincture. It's fucking amazing. And if you like what you hear, you get something out of it, jump over, like, share, tell a friend or seven. Pass it along, man. I'd appreciate it very much. All right, Luke and Kyle, fellow podcasters, they got a show called Well, That Fucked Me Up. Link is in the show notes. You can understand why that title attracted me. We had a great time. I was on their show as well. You want to make sure you check that out and support them. Love these guys, man. We had such a great time laughing, telling great stories, talking movies, shows. We've all gone through sobriety, so you hear all of our stories about before and after. I love stories that a guy fucks his life up and then gets it back. Well, you hear how all three of us did that. And then these motherfuckers, they almost joined a cult. Super close. We hear people like, oh, yeah, that's a cult. I almost joined it. No, these guys are right on the cusp. And if Luke wasn't there, I don't think we'd be talking to Kyle today on this show. But you know what? I'm going to let these two guys tell you all about it. Let's get to it.
I was watching that before we hopped on because I had like 10 minutes. And I stopped, I paused right when there's like some sea monster or whatever the fuck, taking the... I assume you guys are caught up. Otherwise,
no, mate, don't assume that ever. Don't ever assume and give away things about stuff.
So wait a minute. Going back, so your company had just a few things to do with Game of Thrones?
Oh, are we recording now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I used to run be the executive producer at a company called Elastic, and Elastic. While I was there, what the fuck? Sorry, my Slack's going off. What is wrong with everyone? I wish everyone would just leave me alone. Can everyone just leave me alone? Shut up. Slack, beep, bring, boot. Can't take it any longer. So we did the Game of Thrones opening title sequence, for which we received 2 Emmys. We also did True Detective. We also did Westworld.
Wait, which
morning show? We also did. We did quite a few recent. Just this weekend, we didn't win the Emmy. Severance won the Emmy for best main title this weekend for the Emmy, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. So I have a question about Game of Thrones opening.
Mm-hmm.
Was that different every time, or was that the same?
It was different. So the first few seasons, they updated it every 2 or 3 episodes. The last season, season 8. Every single one was updated and changed depending on what was happening in the narrative.
Sure.
We have to fucking rewatch it.
Yeah, you will. And then House of the Dragon, which just came out, that was the last project that was happening while I was still at that company. And that main title just dropped on episode 2, which is bonkers. And they've kept the same music. And I will say House of the Dragon is excellent. I'm thoroughly
phenomenal. phenomenal.
I was worried. I was thinking, oh Christ, how are they going to do this? And is it going to be shit? And like first, and it's like it's bloody, it's gross. It was like the cesarean scene. I nearly had to crawl underneath the floorboards of my house because I couldn't deal with that.
Well, I haven't seen it yet. So.
Oh my God, Kyle.
Well, what happened with it not toward the end, I know, but where the dragon, she told the dragon to burn everything up there.
Yeah.
I about fucking lost it, dude, because the little, I was like, no.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's close to the bone already, but yeah, I love it. So anyway, and now I'm in a new company and we're doing similar things and having a great time. And I'm off to Atlanta tomorrow. Never been to Atlanta. Anyone? Atlanta?
Ooh, no.
Biggest airport.
I was just going to say that. Biggest airport.
Biggest airport where?
The country.
In America.
Yeah.
Do you like how both of you just said biggest airport, assuming that would be the world? Because in America, you just think everything happens in America.
Well, I used to work for Coca-Cola North America. So like the Coca-Cola company. And I was out in Colorado and the big head honchos would come in and I'd have to go, I was in that position. I'd go pick them up and we'd spend the week together and I'd show them all around and all that bullshit.
That's very cool.
Yeah. And so I picked this guy up from Denver airport. I go, where'd you fly in from? He's like, Atlanta. I go, oh, that's cool. The biggest airport in the country. And he goes, I was waiting for you to say the world. I go, oh, I know it's not the biggest airport in the world. And then he goes, do you know which one is? He goes, I just came from there. And I was going to be so fucking racist because he's a fucking Chinese dude, right? And I was going to be like, I don't know. He's like, Hong Kong.
I was going to say Hong Kong. I swear to say Hong Kong.
I was going to say that, but I'm like, man, I don't know how the whole political scale. But I got a funny ass story about Game of Thrones.
Tell me.
So I started dating my wife and she's like, hey man, have you seen Game of Thrones? I'm like, nah, some people are talking about it. And it was like 3 or 4 seasons in at this time.
Mm-hmm.
But I had my video company and I was just working every day, fucking piles of hours and stuff. Right. So she goes, well, you got to catch up. And she goes, I think you'll like it. She was going away for the weekend. And I go to the bar, happy hour with my friends. And I was like, hey, man, you guys know about this Game of Thrones? And they're like, dude, you got to watch it and all that. So I get a 6-pack of beer and a pizza. And it was a Friday night about 6:00 in my apartment. I turn it on. And at like 3:00 on Sunday, I was like, oh, my God, the sun. I watched all 4 seasons and it was amazing, man.
So, go on.
The first season was amazing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're all great, but I'm watching. I'm like, this is dude. This is like House of Cards in medieval times. Politics and sex, and everybody's killing each other, and then at the end, I was like, there's fucking dragons. Oh my God, I got to keep watching it.
It's amazing.
I got to know the pizza guy and the Chinese food delivery guy really well that weekend. So.
I joined I started watching Game of Thrones after it had been going for 6 seasons, and I couldn't stand everyone coming into work every day. Oh my God, did you see Game of Thrones? Oh my God, did you see? I was like, what is wrong with everybody? So I was like, I'm going to give it a go. And exactly the same. I did all 6 seasons in about 2 weeks.
Oh, crazy, right?
I had to buy a new remote for the TV because of Game of Thrones, because of the Red Wedding. Damn. Stabs and kills everybody. I was so pissed.
I don't think that was that bad. Everybody's like, that's the worst. I'm like,
I don't remember that.
Because you were rooting for him. And then like
the thing I couldn't deal with in Game of Thrones was the season where that guy was kept in a dungeon and tortured by Ramsay, and he ended up cutting off his dick and eating it in front of him.
Yeah, that was,
and it just kept going back to that scene and him torturing him even more and even more. And I'm like, are we watching like Hostel right now? Like, why is there torture porn on Game of Thrones?
Yeah, well, you got to please everybody, right? Try to.
Luke and I are like avid horror film.
Oh man, I could talk about slasher movies all day.
Yeah, big time horror movie fans.
And like the B-rated slasher ones or like high quality ones?
Everything.
Good.
I got everything. Like 70s, 80s, 90s now, like high-end shit, underground, like anything, like horror, just any horror movie ever. And I'll even dig out and go find stuff that people are like, don't watch that. And I'll be like, okay. And then I watch it.
Yeah. That's like somebody's like, hey, man, this smells really bad. Smell it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
what was that one that you told me about where I couldn't get? It was like one of the banned ones from.
Well, no, there's some really disgusting underground horror. I don't really want to go into that. My love for like offensive underground horror.
Oh, that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, it's like a whole like I don't know. I think we'll just.
There's only one movie that I couldn't. I was just like, I got halfway through. I'm like, I can't, because you get that stomach feeling, and you're like.
I tell you that for me, the film that left the biggest mark on me, and I really struggled to get over, was Martyrs.
Is what?
Martyrs.
Like, what did she? Oh my god,
it's too much. It's literally too much. And they tried to
whisper in her ear. Yeah. That's what
she whispers. She whispers, "There's no afterlife." She whispers, "There's nothing there." It's honestly the most harrowing, desperate, degrading, lonely, awful, horrible feeling that I had for about 2 weeks after watching that movie.
Well, that's good.
You have to see it. It's good.
Well, that's
it's not good. It's just like
a shout out to the producers and all that for them to affect you like that.
Yeah, I'll say big time. Yeah.
Well, I was waiting for you to say Human Centipede.
No, well, Human Centipede 1 is a bit stupid. Human Centipede 2 is the one that really had people troubled. Yeah. And he made it in black and white.
Baby.
One of the most disgusting movies you'll ever watch in all of it.
Yeah, that's fine. Just nasty.
Vile.
So
Yeah.
since you guys have all been in some sort of video production and all that, I was as well. I had a company for a long time. But going back to Game of Thrones, when I first started watching it, I'm like looking at the production value. I'm like, did I just see a fucking piece of plywood? What was that? You know, and
there was all sorts of fuck ups, wasn't there?
Yeah, and then I'm like second season, third season, I'm like, oh, somebody got a budget.
Yeah. That's exactly right. And it went up and up and up, didn't it?
Yeah. So how often do you guys watching anything? You're like, hey, that's a different color shirt. Wait a minute. How come that is wrong? Do you guys do that?
Continuity? No, I never spot it actually.
No?
No, I don't. Like there was all sorts of interesting ones, like somebody having like a digital Casio watch and like a period drama and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The worst one. Go ahead.
I was gonna say there's like one that I just remember was like Gladiator, when the chariot or whatever like pops off, and then you see like you see all the mechanics and
mechanics under it.
I'm terrible at it.
The one that really stands out for me, I think it's one of the first Bourne movies.
Yeah.
And the guy's in the guy that's tracking down Jason Bourne, they're like in the war room or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's got a long sleeve blue shirt on and a tie. And he points and he goes, give me everything on screen 1. And it comes right back to him. And he's got a short sleeve blue shirt on with no tie. And I was like, whoa. Okay. That was a little bit obvious, but that one stands out for me. But anyway, nice work on Game of Thrones though. We're huge fans.
Yeah. And, thank you. Yeah. I do like my movies, do like my TV shows. I watch too many. And then, I'm off to Atlanta tomorrow to shoot some stuff on this. I was about to say on my side job, but it's actually obviously my actual job. And then like podcasting with Kyle is our side job, but we do enjoy it very much, don't we?
Well, I thought this was your main gig and the other one was your side gig.
Yeah, you see, because we're so professional at
it. Hey, man, I don't judge, dude. But where the hell did you get the name? Why did you come up with the name of your show?
That's a great question. Well, I feel like Kyle came up with the name. Actually, Kyle's the brains of the outfit. You see, he doesn't look. Like
no, I'm not.
So Kyle and I know each other through various friends in the world of trying to better ourselves and not drink anymore. If you can read into that what you will. And
congratulations on that.
We're very honest and open, vulnerable men. And actually, I know I never used to be that way, and I don't believe Kyle did either. Kyle had don't want to talk for you, Kyle. I mean, he had a pretty shitty upbringing, right?
Yeah, but I think we started because I was dating homegirl with the kid.
Dude, that's such a great description.
Yeah, I'm trying to be vague for.
Yeah, but it's just I got a 300 ring circus of an imagination, so you can imagine what I just thought.
I like that you're being like really subtle, like on a like podcast with video. You're like, that thing when
Wink, 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 wink.
Wait, we started it because of that?
No, they came up because I was all butthurt about it, and then I was like, well, it's gonna fuck me up.
Yeah, I thought it was more that everything that we'd ever been through, we kept joking about it, laughing about all the shit we'd been through, and then we were like, we should do a podcast where we can at least tell our stories and see if other people want to tell their stories just about the stuff that's happened to them. Yeah. And then I think you were like, just like all the stuff that's fucked us up. And we were like, we can call it That's Fucked Me Up, that has, or something. And we're like, and I think I put just a British twang on it. Like, well, that fucks me up. Like, yes, done. So there we go. Well, that fucked me up. The only problem with that title is that we can't advertise the full name. Like, we can't advertise the full name on like radio stations or anything like that because it's got a swear word in it. So we have to be clever about how we.
That's not a swear word. That's a comma.
Yeah.
I use that word as a comma, dude. So I was going to ask you guys about that because when I was coming up with my original title, and I rebrand, I'm in the middle of a rebrand right now, but when I came up with my original title and then I was doing descriptions and stuff, because that's just part of me is the language, right? And I tried to curb it and it just didn't feel natural anymore.
No.
And I've curbed it a little bit just from talking as much as I do with this stuff, but I can't get rid of it. And when I ran into you guys, I was like, wonder what they run into, like marketing issues.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I reached out to a lady who belongs to a church, and she had died and met Jesus and came back. And I was trying to get her on the show, and she was not.
In general, I didn't realize it was to do with the podcast. I thought in general you reached out to a lady.
No, and then she politely declined.
Oh,
I've met a handful of those people.
We've had a couple of.
I don't think your podcast is really for me.
We've had a couple of near-deathers on the podcast. It's been pretty amazing. No, so if I try and advertise on Instagram or Facebook, then I just have to do a link to a soundbite of the show and then link it to our Buzzsprout website, which doesn't have the actual swear word in it. That's the way around it, you see.
And then like on your graphics, you just put a little symbol and
we put a little star where the U is. And it's funny, like most of the time, don't they, Kyle, people go, am I okay to curse? We're like, it's in the title. But there's one woman that we had on. It was lovely, by the way, no judging. But every time because it's like this, welcome to, that fucked me up. And every time I swore, she go like this. Yeah. Like she was
shit.
Like she was ducking, So that was kind of funny. That's really
I run into my little thing in the beginning. I go, hey, man, no politics and religion. Some stories have a religious base, and that's fine. And I said, and if you don't swear, that's fine. I'll probably swear enough for the both of us. Yeah. And then 10, 15 minutes in, and I've even had friends tell me, they're like, I don't swear until I get around you. And then it becomes so natural. I'm like, okay, all right, don't matter. Yeah. So speaking of swearing like that, when my wife first met my mom passed away 3 years ago. But she was a OG, man, straight up gangster. And I was happy. I was like, oh, you get to meet my mom, and because they were out in Colorado and we're here in Jersey. So we go out for my niece's wedding, and there's my mom standing there, and I go, oh, come on, Val, let's meet my mom. And my mom said something to me, and I wish I remember what it was. And I go, go fuck yourself. By the way, this is my girlfriend, Val. Dude, without missing a beat, my mom shakes her hand, looks right at her, and goes, does my son please you? And I was like, Ma Blau, everybody.
Oh, my God.
I tried to warn my wife, my wife, about my mom, and then her heart's as big as the world, or was, but she was, because I was between jobs. And I was like, hey, yeah. She's like, when we were texting, I said, hey, yeah, I had a good time. Went play poker and a visit with some friends. She's like, yeah, that's nice. Now get a job. I think
my dad used to tell. Lost my dad 4 years ago. My dad used to tell like just sexist like jokes, like right out of the 1960s, and think they were funny. I'd be like, and to like, it'd be like, oh, I've got one for you, and be like, oh no, Dad, don't.
Oh, I like when they set it up and the hand on the hip. Now let me tell you this joke.
Then he
Looking
gets
around, they're like,
you
okay.
get to the punchline, you're just like, no, that's not funny anymore, ever. Stop.
Yeah, but that dude, that's how the best ever. You know, you're going to get a racial joke when it's. I got a joke for you.
Around, like, yeah.
When they start looking around, you're like, oh no, stop.
And then I lean in, and I'm like, yeah, all right, I'm ready. But,
oh no,
all good. But you guys have a story that I want to hear about.
Oh yeah, well, so Carl, you want to start? We did get we did nearly get recruited into a cult one Christmas Eve in LA, in Los Angeles, didn't we, Carl? But it was your fault, Kyle, because you were one who was in a cult. So well done, thanks for that.
Well, to be fair, I didn't know she was in a cult at the time.
Oh, see? Oh, you got, dude, that's all you needed. We're done. That's all I need to know. She asked you.
Didn't know he was probably a 1 foot in the cult.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did she have a sundress on and no bra?
But yeah, throughout.
She did. She did dress a little bit like one of the Manson girls. Yeah, for sure. But
dude, the signs are all there.
Oh, tell the story, because you called me, didn't you? You said, "Oh, you want to come out on Christmas Eve?" I was very lonely at the time. I think I was in the first year of just a few months into separation and had a very rough divorce.
Yeah, and we had been hooking up a couple of weeks, about a month. It was great. And
he means great sex is what he means.
Well, yeah, that's a given. And people, wait a minute, people that are only listening, you got to check out the video. He is as red as a fucking tomato, man. Look how embarrassed this guy is telling his story. This is amazing.
She is a lovely girl and has since apologized for the fuckery that went down. But during sex, she was like, I manifested you. And I was like, that should have been my first.
That is a flag right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I was like, no, this is great. So I'm going to go. So I was also divorced, and we were going to go to a Chinese restaurant.
Well, of course. Well, it's tradition on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I call up Luke, and I'm like, hey, she's going to bring some of her friends. And
No. She's going to bring a friend. I'm like, yeah. I'm like,
you didn't bring a friend.
Like, not in a good space. And I'm thinking Christmas Eve, all alone. I don't think I had access to my children at this stage. And you're like, I've got this girlfriend or girl I'm seeing, and we're going to go for Chinese, and she's going to bring a hot friend.
Were you barbecued? Were you barbecued at the time?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Probably was. Yeah.
That's what I was.
Go ahead.
So I can't remember. Did I pick you up? You picked me up.
Yeah. I picked you up. We drove there.
And we get there, and I say hi. And she had a hot friend.
Yeah, she had a hot friend, and then they also had like 6 other friends that showed up.
This Jesus-looking guy.
They all showed up, and so the hot friend comes, like, literally, she's like, "Oh, this is the guy that I'm being hot with this evening." So I was like, "Yeah."
No, but it was like she was all over Luke.
She was really hot as well.
But the way
nice.
So they have these kind of like McDonald's tables or whatever. So it's like a bench.
Yeah.
She's sitting here. I'm sitting here. Luke's sitting here.
Yeah.
And homegirl's sitting there. And then the rest of the congregation.
Yeah. So these people that literally looked like they were straight out of, I don't know, we couldn't figure it out, right? There was this kind of this Indian guy with shaggy hair. And then there were these like really, like it felt like they'd all just come from church, if I'm totally honest with you, right? They just felt like a real mishmash of people that had come from church. But his girlfriend, or the girl he was seeing, couldn't account for them. Like she would just say, "Oh, they're just my friends." And then
They're like, where'd you meet him? They're like, oh, we just.
Where'd you meet them? Oh, we just all know each other. And it's like, okay, what the fuck is happening right now? So we go ahead and order. I then hear this guy at the end, the Indian guy, saying he's holding this girl's hand and he's telling her that she is going to be okay because this stuff. And she just starts crying. And I'm like, oh, he's like, this guy thinks he's some sort of a weird spiritual healer. He says tells me he hasn't slept for 4 days. He doesn't need sleep.
By the way, isn't uncommon in Venice or West LA. Like everyone's a spiritual healer here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I can see that. But wait a minute. But what about the 75 other red flags that were flying?
Meanwhile, this girl's all over Luke.
Okay, so I'm following you so far, and I understand that when you know the way you guys described him, you lost what 65 IQ points?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Just from that, and then any drugs or alcohol you were consuming, even more. So
we were sober.
Yeah, we were that night. We were sober.
Oh wow, damn, dude!
And then it took a turn.
So, so I'm like, what? So I'm like, so this girl's all over me. Kyle's girl is here, and then there's these fucking random people that look like they're from church. And Kyle just looks at me, and he looks across at me, and he just goes, and I'm like, what? He's like. So we get up, we walk outside.
Well, wait a minute. Well, people that can't see it.
He's like shimmying. He's like shimmying for like meeting us. He's giving me the. Sorry.
Well, no, he's given so people that aren't watching, he's given you the nod. Like every guy knows this nod.
Yeah, like
you're trying to be all coy, and you just go right or left. You're like,
meet me outside. Like meet me outside. So I go out, and Kyle is like, literally says to me, "What the fuck is going on?" Well, I said, I don't know. It's your fucking double date. Like, you tell me. I thought I was here to meet you, hot girl. I didn't know that there was going to be a church, a congregation arriving, right? And he's like, I said, I got a bad feeling about this. Like, we should leave. And then he's like, and then I look in and I like see the hot girl. I'm like, or let's just see.
Didn't somebody bring a kid? And like the kid's just like screaming and crying.
Someone brought a kid.
Holy! Where was the bus? Was there a bus?
There's no bus. No, it's like we don't know where they came from. It was so confusing. It was so confusing that I was just like, I don't know what's happening, but at least I have some people to talk to on Christmas Eve because I was, not in the best place. And I appreciated for Kyle to bring me on the journey, although I didn't realize he was inviting me into a cult because he didn't realize he was being invited into a cult. So then this girl who's sat next to me, she starts saying, do you want your life to be changed forever? And I'm like, I thought she meant, do I want a blowjob or something like that.
That's what, hey man, that's what I heard. I'm not mad at you for that. Right. Yeah, that's what I heard.
But so she said, and I said, well, what does that mean? She said, well, we're all in a group that will change your life, but you have to give yourself to the group. And I'm like, I was like, I don't know what's happening. And I'm so confused. And then this Indian guy is telling me that he hadn't slept for 4 days. And Kyle's looking at me across the table like, what's going on? She then hits me with like the homepage of some healing, like life-changing retreat that requires me to pay $3,000. $3,000. And she's all over me. And she's like, come on, like we'll do it together, and and then we're going to a movie afterwards. She goes, I'm with you. I'm with you in the movies, right? We're going to sit at the back together. And I'm like, yeah, we're going to sit at the back together. And she's like, then here's the thing, and you just got to sign up. You got to sign up here. And she like gets like almost like double clicks on my phone to sign up for some like life-changing like retreat. And I'm like, listen, stop. I said, stop. Like, I don't know. I said, I don't know what the fuck is happening here. I am not signing up to a fucking life-changing retreat. I'm here for some Chinese.
And a piece of ass.
Clearly nothing else. And a movie. That's now my priority. And she was like, oh, and then as soon as I said that, she chucked my phone down and she just got up. That was the last thing she said to me all night.
No shit.
No, it gets even better.
the last thing she said to me, she wouldn't even look. She was like, done with him, like sexual not doing anything. He's not. That was her sales technique.
Oh, of course. Well, yeah, of course.
So then, Kyle, tell him about the cinema.
So we get to the movie. It was like on the basis of sex, that movie, and
which is about what's her chops, isn't it? What's she called? She died recently.
Ginsburg.
Yeah.
So how many are at the movies?
Like it's packed. The movie
No,
theater.
he means how many of the cult
of
members?
You guys, like all the cult members and you guys?
8.
8.
Yeah,
and
8.
All of a sudden, and it's at night. So like all of a sudden, it's like mid movie, 9:00 on the dot, without even saying anything to each other. They all stand up and they all just leave.
But they're in different points of the cinema because the movie theater was packed. So you see these like people like randomly coordinated down like there's this huge landmark cinema in Los Angeles. They get up and take a left turn and they leave the cinema. It was
it was just Luke and I watching the movie.
We're like, where you guys go? No goodbyes, nothing. And then we end right, and we're like, what the fuck is happening?
That's
right
awesome.
now. And
wait, did you buy a mattress from the mattress store in that same area?
I did, yeah. I think it's cursed. So we end up finding out the next day. We do some research. We find the link, and we find out all these amazing stories online about this movement, which is
people died in it.
It's like so what they do is it's a technique where they find desperate, like cults do. They find desperate, lonely people with lack of self-esteem and self-belief and all that nonsense, which ridiculously, even though it doesn't sound like it, I suffer from all of my life. And but we make each other stronger, better humans.
Yeah.
And they prey on them. And then the technique is they get you on these retreats and they literally abuse you. Like they emotionally abuse you and strip you bare until you're nothing. And then they build you back up again over the series of a few months until you are stuck believing in what these people believe in, all the while paying the money. And warnings online, warnings, do not join, do not go. It is not a life coaching session. It's this person died, this person.
They start like they didn't give someone water for like a couple days and they fucking died. Like
Jesus Christ. Now
just wanted Chinese and a movie.
Quote unquote movie. Wanted a movie.
Oh my. So
now you guys got it where you guys are though. You got to have that shit everywhere though, right?
There's a lot of that stuff. Would you say, Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, I think more so like in the Venice area, it's like when you get there's like a stretch of coast and it goes to Palisades, Santa Monica, Venice. And the Palisades is like where like stockbrokers and yoga moms and everybody else live. Then you kind of have Santa Monica where it's like a younger professionals who are working their way up to get to the Palisades.
Okay.
Then you have Venice, which is probably the coolest, weirdest fucking amalgamation of like different people. Like, you got like, I don't know, you got like smoke shops, you got crystals, you got fucking really good food, you got like and then like what 20 years ago it was like gang central.
Yeah, but I mean it sounds predatorial though, right? Because people
that was big time. Yeah.
Even now though, right? Because people go there trying to live the Hollywood dream, and that doesn't work for them, and then they end up sliding down through the cities like you guys were just describing.
Yeah.
And then you got people, I call them predators or parasites, really.
Yeah.
That type of group that tried to get you guys in.
Yeah.
Because they know where to find them.
The crazy is that the people that were, apart from the guy that thought he was God and a couple of the weird churchy people, like Kyle's girlfriend and the hot girl, they were relatively regular humans. But they were sucked into the cult, and they honestly thought it was their life's work to recruit. They were recruiters.
Yeah.
They were brainwashed.
do you think that they went through it and they beat him down emotionally and then built him up and be like, look how high, I mean, just to be blunt to the point.
What's that thing with the Vow? Do you watch The Vow?
No.
That crazy ass documentary about that weird little man that convinced everybody that he was their
sex cult
savior, and he branded them all. He branded them all with his initials on their
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
What?
That was a Hollywood cult.
Yeah, listen, and they went to him and the girl who used to be in Supergirl, whatever she was called, and one other person who was in Hollywood. They went to jail for like 25 years.
Jesus.
It's called The Vow. It's on Netflix. Listeners, you should watch that. It's
The Vow. So VOW Vow.
Yeah, and actually the second season's just come out now. It's all about their trial and them going down. So,
there's a bigger one that I don't want to say because I don't want to get sued, but I'm sure you've heard of it. Tom Cruise is a part of it.
Oh, Jesus, dude.
Yeah, we can't
talk about religion. We can't talk about religion. We can talk about cults.
No.
Well, it's a cult, dude. Wow. Never mind.
They haven't seen Homeboy's wife in like 10 years, like the leader of that group.
Oh, yeah, there's a whole thing. But speaking of the whole, how everything's connected like that, you guys will get a kick out of this. So between jobs, I was kind of bored, and I'm not one to sit around. And it was the holiday season. So here in New Jersey, not too far, it's all industrial and stuff. So FedEx was hiring people to unload trucks. I said, oh man, that's cool. I'll do that. Get a little workout in at the same time, make some money. Little money. Whew, man, them guys work fucking hard for nothing. But so the truck's back in, of course, at an angle. But if you don't know, inside a FedEx truck, in the middle is one of those roller ramps. The ramps with all the steel rollers on it.
Yeah.
And they pack the boxes around them. So now the truck backs up to the dock. They bring out a escalator type thing, belt to meet that back of the truck. Now I'm on one side and another guy's on the other, and you just throw these boxes on the roller thing, and gravity takes them down, and they get all, that's what FedEx does. So they have it down to a, perfect. So I'm going through, and me and this other guy, we're talking a little bit here and there, but we're just tossing boxes, and out of nowhere, this wall of fucking Amway boxes is in front of me. And I'm like, God damn, Amway? Wow, man, I ain't seen these guys in forever. I was like, man, I thought this was gone. I said, man, one of the biggest fucking multi-marketing schemes ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. The guy next to me, without even missing a beat, didn't even look at me, nothing. He goes, "Lest you don't count Christianity." And I just stopped and I looked at him, and he never even looked over at me. He just kept right on going. And I was like, holy shit. I go, I need to ponder that for a second. But
it's crazy.
Yeah, that was nuts, dude. I was like, whew. But anyway, yeah, that's a whole mixture of, there's another cult movie that it's like The Ranch or something. I think it was on Netflix. So it's a little older. Guy with a big white, like this narrows it down.
That's what's it called? It's all about the sannyasins that then they ended up building a whole village, and they armed themselves.
Yeah, it got all weird. And I'm like, this stuff never works. No. I don't understand why people think that stuff works.
But it is a bit crazy. Like, there was the most amazing one was the UFO guy, and he said he'd come from space, and he would travel around in a bus trying to recruit people. And he looked like sort of he looked like that Nanu guy, Heaven's Gate, the Heaven's Gate.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then he by the end there was 19 people in the cult, and like you're gonna be wondering, like, is it 19's a bit low? Maybe we got this wrong,
But they interviewed the guy that. Like, when everyone killed themselves, they interviewed the guy that didn't, and he was like, I feel bad that I didn't kill myself.
He didn't kill himself. So all 19 of them, they took cyanide together in a house, because he told them that Halley's Comet was actually the UFO was hiding behind Halley's Comet, and they needed to kill themselves so that the vessel they were in was dead, and their souls could rise up to the cliff face where the UFO was going to pick them up.
So what I read out of that, because it was a great documentary, and what I read out of that is he knew that shit was coming to an end, and he's like, I got to get rid of everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he probably drained them all the money. They had nothing else going. But they had like
crazy.
They had like certain skills, and they would go out into the workforce.
Yeah.
And electrician and all sorts of stuff, and that's how they made money, and it was nuts.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's just all nuts. I'm sorry, we seem to have got hooked on. I mean, I'm fascinated with cults. You know,
Me too.
It's absolutely extraordinary. But it's you know, they prey on the human spirit. You know, they prey on. You know, I don't know. I think everyone thinks they're too clever to join a cult, but a lot of people that join the big cults, when they leave, they say, I thought I was cleverer than that, but they get you. They find a way, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's what they've been doing for shit, probably from the beginning of time, depending on what you believe in. But people have been preying on other people forever. Look, he's weak mentally. I'll say he's no good and he'll do whatever I want. And
Kyle, I know your listeners can't see you, but Kyle keeps spinning around in his chair and looking around. He's either taken some mushrooms before we got on, or there's like a fly in his room or something.
No. There's like some creature on the roof, and I've been hearing it.
Right.
And I wanted to make sure the windows were closed because
don't you develop like a new tick? Like
I know. I was going with he's all paranoid that people are listening to him and watching him.
Those were my coke days where I'm like looking through thinking the FBI's in the trees. I've been sleeping like five.
Hey, so I got a question for you with the ex-wife or ex-girlfriend that got you all twisted.
I have many.
Well,
no,
when did you?
One ex-wife, but like.
Well, yeah. Well, that doesn't count. All the girlfriends, right? But
yeah.
When did you start using to the point where you knew that it was going in a different direction? But the reason I ask is because what Luke said about a cult, I believe, because I was in the same position too. Oh, I'm smarter than that. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know, and then you look back and you're like, oh, I should have stopped 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it like slowly over time, like you never can justify like drinking in the morning at 6 a.m. like right away.
Mm-hmm.
It's like over time, because then I was doing really well. I was making a ton of money and I was partying, and then I was like a chemist or whatever, so I'd take this to like be okay, and then I would take this to like keep me going, and I'd take this to come down, and then one day it just like fucking stopped. It stopped working, and I was drinking like a bottle of Jameson a night.
Ooh!
Like the full, not a jug.
That'll do it.
Gag.
But I had to hide it from my ex-wife, so I'm putting it in my drawers.
That never works, man.
No.
And also, she can smell it, surely.
Yeah, and some pretty gnarly shit happened, and ended up going to the hospital. And I remember looking at her, and this poor woman was just like, what the fuck? Like, and
but what'd you go? What sent you to the hospital?
I won't get into too many details, but I will say that
overconsumption,
and then I owed somebody some money that was not somebody who wanted to owe money, and so I had to call that poor woman to drive from my place to Hollywood to pay this guy.
Ooh. I used to be that guy.
You're just like, I had two black eyes, and I'm a big guy, and I'm a boxer, so you can tell like the state.
Yeah, but there's a difference between a fighter and a scrapper.
Yeah, and I don't know. I just looked at her and I felt like if I told another lie, I would explode. And I was just like, I can't stop and I need help.
Wow.
Nice.
And she's like, okay, like we're still gonna get divorced, but like, I'll help you.
I'll help you. You're moving out, but I'll help you.
Yeah.
I appreciate the honesty. Now fuck off.
Yeah, dude. I tell you what. That first time I said that, just I damn near melted away. I cried so much.
It's a big relief.
It is huge.
A lot of it for us is the hiding, and then the amount of people that know that you think you're hiding.
Yeah, right.
Because like we're drunk or high, and we think we're hiding it, but we're not, because it's obvious to a lot of people. But we continue with the lie. I did that for a long time. Lie.
Yeah.
And it just felt rough as well. I wish I hadn't done that, but
can't redo it, right?
No, you can't. And we're here now. We're here now. We're doing okay, all of us.
There is one.
Am I on drugs? Like, I'm hearing this fucking thing.
Dude, yeah, you're on drugs.
That's hilarious. We're watching a live psychotic break in
action. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Make sure. But no, I one night we're out partying, playing cards, and I was with my buddy who's a coke dealer, and the last thing I remember was at like little after 7 p.m. And about 11:30 that night, I went into the bathroom, take a piss, and fell backwards like a tree.
Oh shit!
17 staples in the back of my head.
Is that just like a blackout from drinking too much? Oh.
Yeah, coke and drinking. And then I woke up in the hospital in a gurney at a 45-degree angle with no shirt on, bruises all over my chest, and strapped to the gurney with an armed security guard standing next to me. And I look over at him. He's like, he just staring straight ahead. And I tried saying something to him, but cotton mouth, and I was just, I was in horrible shape. Yeah. Jeez. And come to find out, I did not want to go easy.
And you probably don't recall any of that, right?
Nah, I ain't got no fucking memory of it.
Yeah, that's heavy. I did my last, the year leading up to 2 years leading up to my actually finally quitting was blackouts every time I go out. And it was so rough trying to live that double life, because I'd have to pretend that I had recollection. I'd have to go through my receipts to figure out where I'd been. I'd have to drink it through the day to get rid of the shakes. And it was like my life was like a never-ending cover-up. It was like a never-ending.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I love that Kyle is losing his mind.
I know, this is amazing. If you're just listening to audio, you got to come watch a video of this dude.
He's just
fucking crow. It's
great.
You see that?
No.
It's like
imagine
fuck that.
Imagine if well, at least now. Imagine if it flew in and attacked your face.
Ratings, man, ratings. That would have been good.
You know why? It's a crow? Because we were talking about Game of Thrones at the beginning. It's a raven. It's got a message for you. Send a raven.
Look at his feet, man. See if there's a little thing on there.
Yeah, it's
a message. It's probably from your cult lady.
Yeah, it's part of the cult.
She would be the one to send that.
It is the cult. It is the cult lady.
Oh, nice. I like that. I like the bridge there.
Yeah.
But what was your break? Like when you said 2 years before you were.
Yeah, mine was absolute like deathly rock bottom. I did some pretty gross, like gnarly like things in a blackout over a space of 3 weeks, which I still to this very day can't account for. And I know there was some police reports and a smashed car, and I was thrown out, was kicked out of the family home, lost custody of my children. And all of my, literally like out of a movie, all of my belongings were left in bin liners outside the house. And I was cooped up in three different motels for the next 2 weeks after a trip to the hospital to try and detox and get fluids in me. And then living out of plastic bags, and I maxed out all my credit cards. Then I couldn't stay in the motel any longer, so I slept in my car. And then I called a couple of friends, and I was like, I'm thinking I'm about to die, so someone needs to come and help me. And that was the release for me. I just broke down and totally broke. Like everything in my life was gone. Everything I'd ever done, everything I'd ever worked for, in one blink of an eye.
I'd also like to just point out, for people who don't know Luke is like the best father now, and like, I don't know, like you're someone I like aspire to be like.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I appreciate that, Kyle, and
I'm friendly with your ex-wife.
Yeah, I mean, it was a few years ago now. But at that moment, I honestly thought my life was over. Like I would never have. It was impossible for me to believe that I'd ever be happy again. But I will say that now I'm probably the most content and happy and optimistic and peaceful that I've ever been in my entire life. So that shit, as much as it pains me that I hurt people and I had to go through all that, was a journey I needed to take.
Absolutely. And well, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
You look great, dude. So
Thanks, I feel great. Plus, I do my own hair, so we should talk about that.
Yeah, no, we're gonna pass. I'm jealous, dude.
Wait, I just want to point out. Do you remember the first time I met your ex-wife, and she would not say a fucking thing to you, and not say anything to me, and she'd just be like, "Hi."
Of course. Yeah, well, of course, she dropped the kids off, and I had to go through the courts to get the kids back, and
sure.
And now she lives down the road. We have 50-50. We're on good terms. I pick her up from the airport with the kids when she gets back from trips. She takes the extra weekends.
That's going above and beyond what you should do for an ex.
To be fair, that's how my girlfriend feels about that, and so as a result, I've stopped doing that.
Smart man.
She pointed that out too. She's like, "Nope, that's not happening anymore." I was like, "Okay, got you." Yeah.
Yep. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
But so going back to what you said about peace, and I've done, some parts of my life were quite violent, and I think that to go through something that you went through and some things that I've gone through, that gives you a true like for me personally, that gives me a deep feeling of true peace. What peace is, because you've seen the other side.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
And been through there, and your hands have been in it, and your face has been in it, and the regret. I did something to a gentleman that was not very. Yeah. And like 2 years later, I ran into him in the video store, and I couldn't even look at him. Put my head down and walked away, man. And just the regret, and he's still carrying physical things with him that I did to him, and I was like,
it's hard.
Yeah.
And you're right, and Kyle, I know you have to go in a second. I appreciate that. You can probably I'm just giving Kyle an out because I know he had to go at 5:30. I didn't kill anybody, right?
No.
But I did really, really mess with some people's emotions, and I was on the verge of losing my children, right? To drink and drugs, and the first thing you've got to start to do, which Kyle and I work on together, and everything we do with our podcast, is you got to learn to fucking love yourself again. You got to learn to forgive yourself. And you've got to learn that we're human beings and everyone makes mistakes. And I got to the point that I got to because of all of the lack of self-love I had for myself in the first place. That's why I was drinking myself into oblivion. I couldn't deal with all the pain that was whirring around inside. I didn't even know I had that pain in there. I just knew I needed to escape how I felt every day. I know this sounds cliche, but it's completely fucking true.
100%.
It wasn't until and I had ultimatums. I'm going to leave you. I'm going to take the kids from you. I'm going to leave you. I'm going to take the kids from you. And I'd stop for a week or 2 weeks, or pretend I'd stopped, or lie that I'd stopped, or here's a certificate which I'd forged. What the fuck, And then eventually it was just like this run I went on. There was no denying anything. She was like, okay, that's the end of that. Bye. Can't do this anymore. And I'm a clever guy. I'm an intelligent, educated, clever human being. This thing brought me to my fucking knees. Like, and it's just the self-discovery that I've been on over the last 5 years, 6 years, has been the most extraordinary, epic journey of my entire life. And I am proud to say that I love who I am and what I'm becoming and the things that I'm learning and the friends that I surround myself with now. And I don't want to fuck it up. I'm excited for the future. I'm not scared about dying an unaccomplished, like, morsel of a human being. Like I'm still a like awful, ghastly validation seeker, and I need people to tell me that I'm doing okay. But I'm getting there, you know. And the journey is an exciting one now because I've got the people in my life and around me that I should have had all along, but I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, but I mean that's learning and growing, right?
Of course.
And the thing is, I want to, when you see your ex-wife, tell her thanks for me.
I will.
For fucking putting her foot down.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, where the hell you going to be if she just sit there and let you ride?
I would have drunk myself to death, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
I would have crashed the car into a lamppost one night, coming back from God knows where the fuck I would have been. You know.
So
there's only so many lives I had, you know, for sure.
Yeah, one morning I woke up in my truck, parked on the curb out in front of my apartment, with the wheels cranked. Still in drive, and I'm leaning against the driver's side window, passed out, and the truck's idling, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
you know, and my thoughts were, okay, if me wrap around a telephone pole and nobody else gets hurt, world's probably okay.
Yeah,
moving on. What about the mom coming home from the second shift from nursing? She just pulled a double and she wanted to get home and make breakfast for her kids, and some dumbass like me slams into her, you know?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I woke up in my car at 5 o'clock in the morning with the car running with 3 empty white wine bottles next to me and another one half open. And I'd gone to CVS because I knew that you could buy alcohol from there at 6 a.m. And that was the earliest chance I had of getting my next hit of booze. But I'd fallen asleep at about 3 a.m. in my car and woken up as the sun came up.
Jesus Christ, dude.
That's rough.
Yeah, that's a hell of a story, because part of my rebrand is the phrase of, you know, I like a good story, but I like a story where a guy fucks his life up and brings it back around. So look at that.
Kyle and I are the fucking comeback kings here.
Good for you guys, though. Good for you guys, man.
And I'm not being like, yeah, we fucking got. I'm not being like, yeah, we got away with it. That's not what I mean when I say that.
Luke makes it look more graceful, though. Like, here's my journey. It's like the bumpers on the. Luke's like, oh, this is how I do it. Okay.
There's nothing graceful about my journey at all. You know.
Yeah, but the way I look at it as well, too, somebody made this. I was on another show, and this lady gave me this phrase, because I always say I like to talk about it, because if somebody's like, oh man, yeah, that's cool, maybe I can do that, or, you know, if he did that, I'm not that bad, or I'm worse than that, but man, maybe if I take this step or whatever, you know, however they're thinking, right? And the way she said it was, I lay out my blueprint. Doesn't mean you got to follow it to a T, but at least it gives you a blueprint that this can be done.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, your driving force, Luke, is different than mine, different than Kyle's. You know, everybody's got their own driving force. You got to figure that out and see if it's worth it. You know, there are many people, and I know a lot of people that, what their driving force, they thought the bottle was worth it.
Yeah.
To lose that, you know, unfortunately, not everybody has the will or self-esteem or whatever you want to call it to handle it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, we lost some friends along the way already. I mean, I'm in my 40s, and we've lost some friends along the way, and young people too, you know?
Yeah.
You know, there's desperate people out there.
Well, I gotta find it, and I'll send it to you guys. It's a Scottish sculpture of a guy drinking a bottle, but then the way the sculpture looks, he's first drinking it, but then he ends up in the bottle. So you first take a drink and then the drink takes you.
Yeah, that's fucking deep.
Yeah, right. I'm like, I'm going to post that someday, but fuck, that's going to be a long description of a post.
Yeah, that's clever.
Yeah, when I find it, I'll send it over to you guys for sure. But
all right, Jen.
hey, Kyle, you got a minute here?
Yes, I got a couple more minutes.
Throw out your elevator pitch, and then Luke and I will BS after we kick you out. Sorry, man. I understand you don't want to talk to me. That's cool, dude.
No. It's not it just.
But well, you're both are here. Talk about your show and where you can find it and all that good stuff. And my little ticker, if you're watching.
Ticker. Yeah. Look at it, so professional.
I found out the easiest way is I tell people just look for the show under your favorite podcatcher.
Yeah.
And then it just shows everywhere it's available.
Yeah.
So
Kyle,
go ahead, guys.
Kyle, give us a plug.
Yeah. So, oh man, I'm putting on the spot. Go to anywhere where your podcast can be found. They're downloaded, liked.
What's it called, Kyle?
Oh, well, that fucked me up. But instead of fucked, it's F little like star.
Mm-hmm.
No, the thing is though, if I searched on Spotify and I filled in fuck all the way, FUCK, and it pops up.
What's it about?
No censorship.
What's it about, Kyle? What do our guests? What do we have guests every week? What do they do? What do they talk about?
They overcome life's challenges through. I just totally spaced.
So
I love it. I love it, dude.
It's essentially people that have survived life-changing events and experiences. And it can be anything from one-off like accident. We've had people who have been in like life-threatening car wrecks,
serial killer abductions.
Oh, which one is that? I got to listen to that.
Yeah, there's a girl that was kidnapped whilst washing her car in plain sight.
Oh, I watched a video where this guy, they did it like a news clip, and they were interviewing people. This dude rolled up in the neighborhood, pulled a girl out, walked out of his car, walked up to this like 12-year-old girl, yanked her off her bike, threw her in the back of his car, and drove away.
Oh my God!
In the middle of so people saw it. They called the police. They find them, and they show the footage of the chest cam of the cop opening the door, and here's this young girl all stuffed in the car, and she's like, "Mom, I want my mommy." I was like, dude, I was so fucking broken up about that. I was like, I gotta listen to something else, clear my mind, dude. I need a palate cleanser.
I don't know how we started talking about serial killers. I'll finish the plug, Kyle, and then you can go, and then we can carry on because we should talk about serial killers very, very quickly. We can wrap it up with some serial killer chat. That's our other favorite thing. But yeah, but it's concentrating on the triumph over trauma. That's one of Kyle's lines, actually. So we're not here to listen to how the things that happen in people's lives and the depths that they sunk to without the recovery story.
Absolutely.
Story. And the point of the podcast is building a community of people. They listen to the show, they can get in touch. We share on the show notes how they can get in touch and find the people. So if you resonate or you're having a similar situation, whether it's drink or drugs or an accident or mental health, or you've been through something fucking far out and crazy, people are always getting in touch saying, wow, that episode is insane, or I thought that was the only person that happened to me, or people got paralyzed, people lost an arm, people, brain tumor, all amazing things, incredible stories. You were on, Walt, as well, and it's just the last episode that we had on was a guy that got trapped underneath ice at 80 feet whilst on a scuba training exercise for the fire brigade, and his
no respirator,
oxygen ran out and his mask exploded.
Fuck that, dude. I'll skip that episode. Yeah. I'm claustrophobic and I have a fear of drowning, so that's not one. Yeah, no.
Let me say this. He said that when he had resigned to the fact he was going to die, and the water came in, he said that the peace that he felt at that moment was the most beautiful peace he'd ever felt in his entire life.
That's reassuring, because they say that drowning's most
when he got resuscitated, the first thing that came into his mind was like, fuck this, like
what the fuck, holy shit, I thought I was gone.
I'm gonna carry on with this bullshit. Isn't that amazing? Kyle,
I was in a good spot. Kyle, peace, buddy.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, we got to continue our conversation as well, dude. So
I got to tell you, next episode I'll tell you about the Coke story.
Oh, so you're just fucking gonna leave it like that. All right, dude. See ya. See
See
ya,
you
buddy. Talk to you.
See ya.
Bye. So there was this other I don't know how long we're meant to be on for. I've got another 15 minutes or so.
As long as you want, buddy.
There was this there was a murder that had happened in a neighborhood. This is quite an old piece of footage, and they're doing the whole like interviewing the neighbors. Of course, the neighbors are always the first people to like come and say, you know, she was always such a nice girl, or she was my neighbor, or whatever. And it turns out that this guy that had come forward with when he saw all the cameras to be interviewed, saying he was a friend, he was the killer, right? But we found that out in hindsight. But it says watch his face when he basically, right now they were treating it as an abduction, because he's obviously abducted her and he's killed her and he's hidden her and he thinks that's the end of that. What he doesn't realize is that they'd found the body, and it happens live on the news when they say to this guy, you know, and how do you know? And he's like, oh, well, she was my neighbor and she was great and she was a friend, and it's just we just were so scared for her. We don't know where, you know, we're just hoping she comes back safely. And they're like, well, I mean, you know, do you think the body they found, you know, down in the blah 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 woods is probably likely? And he literally goes, what body?
Oh.
And then like, yeah, they found a body, like it's a murder now. And he's like, they found a body, and it was so obvious that he'd killed her. Like his poker face was terrible, that the news reporter straight after that interview said, that guy killed her. You got to go and arrest him.
No shit. I think I saw a post about that.
Yeah.
No kidding.
With fuzzy hair, and he walks off after the interview and he just goes and sits down on the curb and he's just staring at the floor because he's like, fuck, I thought
I'm done. I'm done.
I thought I hid her really well, you know?
Damn.
Oh my gosh. Anyway.
Dude, yeah, the serial killer stuff, I enjoy those, but I'm listening to one now. It's like Bear County or something. They found a family in a drum. I'm like,
oh my.
What the fuck? You know,
the Chris Watkins thing.
Chris Watkins.
Do you know the Chris Watkins story? That's on Netflix now. It's called the American Murder Next Door or something. Again, that's on Netflix. That is a regular fucking dude who is having an affair with some secretary chick, and his wife and his 2 daughters are in the way of his affair that he's having. So he comes home one day, he kills his 2 7 and 9-year-old daughters, he kills his wife, he packs them in his car, and he goes and puts them in the drums in the middle of a fucking field 50 miles away. Then he comes home and reports them missing. And the whole thing it's the most incredible documentary.
Did you see?
Because it's all like, it's in the modern time. So the neighbors, they think there's something up. So everything's they're all filming him on their phone when they go around there. Like, where do you think she is, Chris? And he's like, you know, I think she's run off with someone, or I you know, maybe she's taken the girls. And then it all unravels that he fucking killed his family to be with the secretary who said, I don't want anything to do with him. It was like a one-night stand.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oof. Did you see the documentary on BTK?
Hold on 2 seconds.
I think that the one with
wait, what's it called?
The guy that BTK.
Yes, yeah. Bound, tie, kill, or something.
The clown.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't remember his real name.
That's Gacy. The clown is Gacy.
Gacy.
John Wayne Gacy.
Did you see the documentary on that?
Yes.
What reminded me of that was he was like the guy next door.
He really was. And he was a stand-up guy in the community.
Yeah.
He was a children's entertainer, and he was the local handyman, and he did the construction on the houses.
Oh, dude. Nuts.
37 young men, apparently, in his garage. The craziest thing was his wife knew he was gay. She didn't want to admit that she knew he was gay, and she knew he was bringing young men back to his garage, and she thought he was having sex with them. What she didn't realize is that he was having sex with them, putting them in handcuffs as part of the sex game, and then killing them and burying them in the crawl space.
Yeah. I think, though, but during that, because that thought ran by me as well about him being gay. But at that time, back in the 70s or 80s or that shit was so taboo.
Yeah.
I bet you she didn't want to bring that up because she's like, could you imagine? Yeah, you don't talk about it.
It's also, she said it's shame on her that she can't keep her husband, interested in.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that?
Man, that's fucking crazy, dude.
I gotta go as well quite soon because now my work phone is blowing up. But we did good. We did a solid hour of awesomeness.
Dude, that was a lot of fun, man. Thanks for coming on.
Well, I really appreciate it. We're around anytime, me and Kyle. I know it sounds like we're so bloody busy the whole time, but he's got his thing. I got my thing. You got your thing. But we made a whole hour, and I'm so glad we came on and chatted. And there's so many cool things to talk about. I know it, and there's so much more. But I'm gonna stop recording, dude. But hang on tight, all right? Yep.
Thanks, dude. See ya. As you stand up and walk off that fucking roller coaster ride, I told you it was a good time. I love these guys. Check out their podcast, and if you want to speak with them, all the links are in the show notes. I bet you they would love to hear from you. I'm going to get you out of here because I know you got shit to do, but don't forget, liveresheet.com. Use the code word table50. You're looking at 50% off your entire order. My website, BeRawPodcast.com. Everything you need to know about the show is there. If you liked what you heard, saw, if you're on YouTube, that's great. If you liked all that stuff, you know what? Again, tell a friend or 7. Signing off from New Jersey, where the state dance is square dancing. Yeehaw! Till next time, keep kicking ass.